When it comes to RWA tokenization, a lot of people have this idea in their mind of how much money will essentially be on chain, and it's typically a pretty small amount, right? We're talking about like $1 trillion or $10 trillion or $16 trillion. What a lot of people actually don't understand or realize when it comes to tokenization is that every single dollar in the world, everything of value in the world will be on chain. That's why I always say that we are in for at least a decade plus of just positive increased value moving on chain in the RWA sector. Today, this market is sitting at $25 billion, almost $26 billion. It's been growing tremendously over the last couple months and even the last couple years. And I think that we're still in a very early phase here where it's kind of boring. Even though we have this crazy spike on the chart, this is technically the boring time for tokenized RWAs. And why do I say that? Well, I say that because there's going to be so much more value. Like, we are literally witnessing a very small piece of the value that will be tokenized. This is a drop of water in the bucket. Now, when we think about that, right, I want to go over a few things. Specifically, let's actually go and look at the public networks here, because there's about $13.13 billion in tokenized RWAs on public networks. That's right. When we compare it to the market overview over here, this is combining not just public networks, but also protocols like Securitize, for an example. So we really want to look at this and focus on this. Now, the XRP ledger has been growing. It's actually up about 34% in the last 30 days. And XRP is going to be the one that we're mainly talking about in this video. But there's so many other great projects as well, which we've talked about, like Hedera, for an example. But we do see that value rising to almost $160 million. Even stablecoin market cap growing over 33% in the last 30 days as well. And I think that this is something that a lot of people are just simply not focused on when it comes to our investments, right? We want to get rich as fast as possible. We want to make money as fast as possible. But what a lot of people don't realize is we are so early here. And I don't think people realize just how early we actually are. Like, we just started to watch real estate and treasuries moving on chain. Guys, if we look at some of these categories, like even real estate, okay? Real estate itself, there's only $143 million tied to the tokenized real estate market. This is laughable. We laugh at this value. Why? Because we know that the global real estate market is valued in the hundreds of trillions of dollars. This is why I keep saying that we are so early here. Now, again, the reason why I'm looking at all of this and the reason why I focus on the value, and we talked about this even back in the beginning of July, we have here from Bitwise that if Larry Fink is right, the tokenization market could grow 4,000x, not 4x, not 40x, 4,000x. There aren't many markets that can say that. And no, there isn't. And again, when we think about tokenization, this is going to be one of the biggest narratives going forward, regardless of what narrative is out there right now. This is something that I think everyone should pay attention to. Now, when we think about that, we also talk about what just happened in the US. The White House released a full PDF file. It's a full document on digital assets and how America is going to tap into digital financial technology in a huge way. And tokenization of RWAs were mentioned as a key use case for blockchain technology. And here we actually have the tokenization market being focused on. Now, what's even crazier about all of this is that we also go over here to the GBBC, because this is a new announcement. This is GBBC member Ripple has partnered with UAE-based Control Alt to assist the Dubai Land Department's real estate tokenization project. Control Alt will utilize Ripple's custody infrastructure to preserve tokenized title deeds on the XRP ledger, marking Ripple's first custody partner in the region. Now, this isn't new, right? But the GBBC is now posting about this. This happened back on July 15th. But one thing that did come from this was a new post from Marcus Inventure, which is the SVP of Ripple X at Ripple. And we have here in a recent conversation with Leonard Schelberg at BNN Crypto, I discussed how Ripple is unlocking the next phase of blockchain utility for institutions on the XRP ledger. The XRP ledger is acting as a foundational layer for financial applications such as the tokenization of real-world assets. Two recent Ripple partnerships highlight this. Our work with Control Alt and the Dubai Land Department has seen the DLD issue title deeds directly on the XRP ledger. Guggenheim Treasury Services is issuing tokenized commercial paper on the XRP ledger in partnership with Ripple and Economy X as well. As these use cases are established on the XRP ledger, new features such as the recently launched EVM sidechain are further enabling programmable, compliant DeFi and paving the way for a multi-chain future. And as the interaction between decentralized and regulated systems becomes the norm, the importance of public blockchains like the XRP ledger, which offer transparency, immutability, and security, is growing as well. And yeah, this is crazy. And what's crazy about this is the confirmation that Ripple is unlocking the next phase of blockchain utility for institutions using XRP and the XRPL. And what's crazy about this is the infrastructure, right? XRP is acting as a piece of this infrastructure. The infrastructure is the future of finance, which is moving on chain. This is the infrastructure that's actually powering this. With enterprise-grade compliance features like a native DEX, the AMM, accelerating RWA tokenization growth, and a global developer community, the XRP ledger is built for the next generation of institutional finance with fully open source technology. And here we actually have, for institutional DeFi to scale, it needs compliance-ready interoperable infrastructure. The XRP ledger is that infrastructure. It delivers with the AMM, with tokenized RWAs, with even DID, all built in. This is why I keep saying to everyone that you are not bullish enough on tokenization. The XRP ledger and XRP were built for this use case. And by the way, another big thing that a lot of people don't focus on is stablecoins. Stablecoins should be trusted, compliance first, and built for real-world finance. RLUSD is setting the standard because now live in Ripple Payments, RLUSD powers enterprise payments, asset tokenization, and DeFi. Because when you bring trillions on chain, you need to transact with something. A digital dollar is just that. RLUSD is a piece of the puzzle as well. The XRP ledger and XRP act as that infrastructure foundation for use cases like tokenization to grow and scale in a huge way. RLUSD is the asset that will be transacted on the network, with XRP being the settlement token because it's the gas token that powers everything on the XRP ledger. This is all a part of the same vision, the same puzzle. And what's crazier about all of this, right, is that we go back to April 1st. The amount of inbound requests that we are getting to meet with large institutions around tokenization products is just astounding. This is from the SVP of Strategic Initiatives, Eric Van Miltenberg from Ripple. Big shout out to Subjective Views for this video clip. Check it out.
Eric, what are your thoughts?
Well, I agree. I think using an example of custody, with Ripple Custody, formerly known as Medico, it's working with large institutions and making sure that they can scale. We have tremendous coverage of some of the largest financial institutions in Europe, be it DBS, HSBC, BBVA, Switzerland, and they're trusting us to come in, not only provide custody, but allow them to tokenize and pull it together in one package. So scale is going to happen when some of this fragmentation that we talk about it kind of is removed. We almost want this. We almost want this to be kind of boring. It should be really clear. It's not like taking a front seat and you spend half the time you meet with a customer just explaining the technology and why they shouldn't be worried about it, but you're really focusing on the benefits, the real world utility that the solution brings. And without that, it's going to be, it's a slog. And I do feel it's getting better. Again, the amount of inbound requests we're getting to meet with large institutions around tokenization products is just astounding vis-a-vis a year ago. And I think being able to again bring those things together in a very kind of frictionless way is what's really going to allow the real scale to thrive.
I mean, so that's a big change in a year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think especially with this, as been referenced, this new administration, even the last several months. I mean, you just look, the crypto market cap is up $1 trillion in the last 6-8 weeks. It's astounding. Now, we'll see what the next 6-8 weeks, 6-8 months brings, but I do feel it's an inflection point, and I think it's poised for significant growth. Now, again, there's estimates of a $16 trillion market cap of tokenized assets by the end of the decade. So there's a long way to go, but I think we're going to see that curve start to steepen.
And yeah, listen, when we think about the use cases, like for an example, tokenization on the XRP ledger, it's all being accelerated through these types of discussions that Ripple is having. Because we know tokenization on the Ripple website, even if we go back to, let's just go to the homepage real quick. Okay, let's scroll down and look at some of these use cases. For an example, here we have accelerate growth. This is payment services, this is fintechs, here's banks. We click banks for an example. Now this is mainly around payments. I actually want to go to tokenization. I believe that might actually be in custody now that I think about it. Yeah. So tokenization, the second that you click tokenization on the Ripple website, we could see that this is all based on the XRP ledger. XRP and the XRP-L are at the forefront of tokenization use cases that Ripple is tapped in with. Any institutional player that's tapping in with Ripple for tokenization, you could bet that they are tapping into the XRP ledger because it's even here on Ripple's website. This is the product overview of tokenization through custody. The custody platform is built in with the XRP ledger. And what's crazy about all of this is that we're starting to see this market opening up in a huge way in the US. Big banks like, for an example, Bank of America are also now saying that tokenization of RWAs is gaining momentum. We have here tokenization of RWAs is gaining momentum, says Bank of America. Bank of America reports that the tokenization of real-world assets is gaining significant momentum in the financial industry. Tokenization involves converting physical assets like real estate, commodities, and securities into blockchain-based digital tokens. This trend is driven by increased institutional interest, technological advancements, and regulatory developments. Tokenized RWAs could enhance liquidity, transparency, and accessibility for investors. The bank predicts that the RWA tokenization market will expand further later this year and into 2026. Overall, tokenization is seen as a key driver for mainstream adoption of blockchain in traditional finance. So when we think about what's going on here, every single bank is on board. Even the government is on board. We know this is true in the US, right? The US literally released a full-on document outlining crypto, digital assets, stablecoins, and even tokenization. We are probably going to witness a seismic shift around tokenized RWAs on chain over the course of the coming weeks, months, and even years ahead. Just like I said in the beginning of this video, we're probably going to continue to see tokenized RWAs on chain growing year over year over year for at least 10 plus years, because this is something that's going to continue to accelerate more and more as more businesses start to tokenize, banks start to tokenize deposit tokens. They're going to see the increased revenue from that. They're going to see how easy it is to utilize these types of networks and this technology as well. Also, think about the revenue opportunity for them. It opens up more doors of revenue opportunities, more use cases. I mean, it's going to shock the entire system, in my opinion, because once people realize what you can do with this technology, it's game on. That's when everything actually officially begins. Right now, we are just in that boring phase of the adoption cycle. Even though it's been exciting with price action and things like that, we're still in the boring phase. Just wait until we go into overdrive on, scaling adoption. That's when the real fun begins. And that's when we really start to see the utility prices hitting these networks as well, which we're all excited about. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.